Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you how to solve F2L intuitively for beginners. First of all, what even is F2L, how does it work, and why do we use it? F2L is the second stage of the most popular speed cubing method, CFOP. If you don't know what the CFOP method is, I recommend you first watch my Intro to CFOP for Beginners video where I explain how it all works. So F2L stands for first two layers, meaning you can solve both the first and the second layer at the same time, rather than doing all the first layer corners first and then the second layer edges, like kind of what happens in beginner's method. Now the idea behind F2L is that we flip the cube over so the cross is now on the bottom, and then we create these corner and edge pairs, which we then insert into their corresponding slots. And there are a total of 4 pairs and 4 slots on the cube. The goal is to solve a pair and insert it into its slot and repeat that for the other 3 pairs to solve all of the first 2 layers. And that's it. If that sounded confusing, don't worry, it'll make more sense as you watch this video. So how do we actually solve F2L? Well, for beginners F2L, we'll do this by simplifying the 70-something different F2L cases into just 5 simple scenarios. Once you learn those 5 cases in this video, you can easily do F2L every single time. And I'll show you how to convert any single F2L case into one of the basic 5. But before we get into it, I just want to give you a little bit of my own advice while you're learning F2L to help your process along the way. I want you to treat this video as a reference. A lot of people, including myself, find F2L very complicated at the start. So don't get discouraged if you don't get it right away. Use the timestamps in the description to rewatch parts of this video that you're stuck on and consult the comments if you need more help. Keep practicing as much as you can, and whatever you do, don't go back to beginner's method just because you feel slow at F2L at the beginning. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to quit right away. Just keep at it and eventually you'll get better and better, just like learning any new skill. Alright, now here's a breakdown of this video. We just went over the intro. Next, we'll be getting right into part 1, where I teach you how to convert any F2L case into one of the basic 5. And part 2 is when I actually show you what the 5 cases are, how to recognize them, and how to solve them on your own. So that's the bulk of F2L right there. But then in part 3, I show you a neat trick that you can use to solve the last pair of F2L because it's a little bit tricky sometimes. And finally, we'll combine everything that I showed you in this video into a couple of examples, and I'll also give you some tips and tricks and give you some next steps on what you should learn, what you should do after watching this video. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. Good luck. Let's get started with part 1. Alright, so let's get started with part 1, where I'll show you how to convert any possible F2L case into one of the 5 basic cases using a foolproof 3-step process. You don't know how to solve the 5 cases yet. That's what part 2 is about. But for now, this is what they look like. And you'll notice that there are 2 main properties that all of these cases have. First, both the corner and edge pieces are in the top layer. And 2, they're both separated from each other. The edge is never touching, or it's never beside the corner piece. It's always further away from it. And these properties are what determine the 3-step process. Let's get into step 1. And by the way, feel free to follow along with me by applying the scramble you see on screen while holding your cube with the green side in front and the yellow side on top. These scrambles will already have the cross solved for you. Now, holding the cross on the bottom, we want to convert this orange and green F2L pair. So step 1 is to bring the corner into the top layer. We're going to hold the cube so that the corner is in the front right position and it's going to be at the bottom of the slot. We want to take it out so it's going to be in the top layer. So to do that, we're going to do an R, U, R prime to take it out into the top layer. Now step 1 is done. For step 2, we see that the orange and green edge piece is stuck here in the middle layer and we want to bring it into the top layer. We can do the same 3 moves we did for the corner while holding the edge in the front right position now. But be careful because you'll notice that now the corner and edge are touching if you do an RUR prime. And this violates step 3, which is that the corner and edge piece must be separated. They can't be touching. So instead of RUR prime to take out the edge piece, we can do an RU prime R prime. And this way you're just moving the edge in the other direction, and that allows them to stay separated, and you have them both in the top layer. And now we can just skip step 3 because it's already done. We don't have to worry about it. So just keep that in mind. You can use either way to take out the edge and corner. Use whichever one results in them not being next to each other, if that makes sense. Don't worry, we'll go over a bunch of examples and this will start to make more and more sense slowly. But for the sake of demonstrating step 3, let's keep them adjacent. Let's say you found them like this in the top layer already touching. So how do we split them up? Well, you can use something that I like to call the hiding trick, where if the edge is in the front and the corner is in the front right position like this, then you can do an R prime to hide the corner piece in the bottom layer, and this allows you to move the edge piece freely anywhere you want now. And just so you know, there are 4 positions in the top layer you can move it to. There's the left, right, back, and front position. Obviously, since the corner will be in the front right position when we unhide it, we don't want the edge to be in the front or the right position. Instead, let's push it in the left position. Back would also work perfectly fine. You can choose whichever one really. Now we can unhide the corner with an R, and look at that. Now we have one of the 5 basic cases. Now let me show you what you would do if the corner was in the front right and the edge was in the right position. Now how do we split up the edge and corner when it looks like this? Well, you can first do a U prime so that they're both in the back now. And now instead of an R prime, let's do an R so that we're hiding the corner in the back right at the bottom position. And now we can move the edge freely. So we're essentially splitting them up, but just doing it from a different angle. And now we can move the edge wherever we want. So let's move it to the left position. In this case, the good positions are left and front. So you can move it to either one of those. And then we can unhide the corner by doing an R prime. And there we go, we have the corner and edge split up. So just so you know, if you ever come across those 2 cases and you're like, oh, how do I split them up? Remember, you want to use the hiding trick to split up the corner and the edge. And that should cover every single possible scenario. Alright, so in part 2 of this video, I'll be showing you how to solve the 5 fundamental cases of F2L. We've already seen in part 1 how to convert any single F2L case into one of these basic 5. And now once you learn how to solve the basic 5, you should be able to solve any F2L case on your own. Now remember, the whole objective of F2L is to create this corner and edge pair, which looks like this, and then insert it into its corresponding slot. So to solve these pairs, we need to learn these 5 fundamental F2L cases. Let's get started with the first one called the matching case. And remember, I'll have a scramble up at the top of the screen, which you can perform on your own solved cube to follow along for each of the 5 cases. So the matching case looks like this, where we position the corner in the front right position at the top with the white color, or whichever is your cross color. In this case, it's white. So for the corner, we have the white side facing to the right. And the edge is going to be in the back position. It's called matching because the top color of both the corner and the edge are the same color. In this case, it's red. And that's how you recognize this case. Also, we always hold the cube, so the slot that we're solving is in the front right, and we position the corner right above it, like this, in the front right top position. Also, remember how in part 1 I talked about that the edge could be in either the back, left, front, or the right positions? Right now it's in the back position, but for the matching case, it's also perfectly okay for it to be in the left position. If you have it in the front position, you'll already have the pair solved, which I'll show you how to insert in a few moments. If it's in the right position, then you have to go back to part 1 and split them up using the hiding trick that I showed you. So now that we have that sorted out, we know our goal is to make the red and blue pair. For the matching case, how we do this is you first hide the corner piece, just like what we do with the hiding method, do an R prime to move the corner into the bottom layer, and now you can freely rotate the top layer and move the edge piece to any of the 4 positions. We're going to move it to the front because now that we unhide the blue and red corner with an R, it creates the pair, just like that. So now we just have to insert it into its blue and red slot, which the corner should be right above. To do that, we're going to rotate the cube so the slot is in the front left. And now we're going to move the pair over with the U prime. And to insert it, bring up the white cross edge on the blue side by doing an L prime. Then we're going to attach the pair to it so the two whites are connected, and then return the cross edge back with an L. If you found the part where we insert the pair into the slot confusing, don't worry, we'll be practicing that a lot more since it comes up in quite a few other cases, and it's always the same few moves. Now let's move on to number 2, the non-matching case. You're going to see the green and red pair like this. That's the one we're going to be solving now. And you'll notice this looks very similar to the matching case, but the top colors of the edge and corner are different now. We've got red on top for the edge and green on top for the corner. That's why it's called the non-matching case. And remember, the white on the corner piece must always be facing the right side. If it's facing the front, you have a different one of the 5 cases, which we'll go over in a few minutes. One really important thing about this case is that we've got to make sure that the edge is always in the back position. It cannot be in the left position. Even if you properly followed part 1, you could potentially end up with the edge being in the left. To fix this, we can apply the hiding trick again and just move the edge to the back. If the edge is in the front or the right positions, then you've got to go back to part 1 and apply the hiding trick to fix it. And also we've got to make sure that the corner piece is right above the slot that it's going to go into. Now to solve the case, we're going to push the corner towards the edge in the back by doing an R move. And you'll see this creates the pair. But we've kind of messed up our cross now. So what we can do is a U, and this is actually going to attach the pair to the cross. And then you can do an R prime, which not only fixes your cross, but it also inserts the pair, which is really convenient and makes this the easiest F2L case since it creates and inserts the pair at the same time in only 3 moves. Here it is again, you just do an R, U, R prime, and that case is solved. Moving on to case number 3, white on top. Now this one is a little bit more involved. You recognize it when the corner piece's white sticker is facing up. In this case, we're going to be solving the blue and orange pair. So we see that the blue, orange, and white corner is in the back. We're actually going to rotate the cube because we want the pair that it's going to go into in the front right. It's always a good idea just to position your cube like that. And then remember, you want your corner piece to always be above the slot that it's going to go into. And the edge can be in either the left or the back position. Remember, it can't be touching. Otherwise, you have to go back to part 1. To solve it, we're first going to look at the side color of the edge piece. In this case, it's orange. So we want to rotate the top layer so the edge is right above the centerpiece that has the same color as its side color. So we're going to move the top layer so the edge is now right above the orange center. And you'll see the 2 oranges lining up like that. I know this abandons the idea of having the corner above the slot that it's going to go into. This is the only weird case where this happens. And now what we want to do is, looking at the top color of the edge piece, which is blue in this case, we want to move the edge away from the blue centerpiece. The blue center is to the right, so we're going to move the edge to the left. Just move it away from that centerpiece. And you'll notice your cross edge comes up. That's fine. We're going to fix that in a moment. And your corner is still in the top layer. What we want to do is move the corner above our edge piece. And you'll notice this creates the pair. Now we can return the cross to normal, and our edge piece is back in the top layer, and our corner is connecting it to create the pair. Now we just have to insert it, just like we did with the matching case. So we can rotate the cube so that the slot is in the front left, and you'll notice the white of the corner is facing you now. So we're going to do a U prime to move the pair over, bring up the cross piece, connect the pair with the cross, and bring it back down. Return the cross, and that will insert your pair. You might have to rewatch that part of the video to get a hang of it, and I'll do an example of it in part 4 of the video so you can understand a little bit better. Alright, now let's get into the mirrored cases, the first of which is the mirrored matching case. The main difference you'll notice between this and the regular matching case is that the white sticker on the corner piece is now facing the front instead of the right, with the corner piece still being positioned on the front right of the cube, right above its slot that it's going to go into. So in this case, we're looking at the green and orange pair. And just like with the regular matching case, in this one, the edge can be in either the back or the left position. It doesn't really matter. It just can't be in the front or the right positions. To solve it, we're going to move the corner piece to the back right position temporarily with a U prime. And then we're going to apply the same hiding technique as before, except by doing an R this time to hide it in the back. And now we want to move the edge from wherever it is. In this case, it's in the front. And we want to move it to the back, because now when we unhide the corner piece with an R prime, it creates the pair in the back just like that. Our cross is preserved as normal and we have the pair. Now we just have to insert it into its front right position. And earlier we learned how to insert when the pair was made such that the white on the corner was facing the right side. Now we're going to learn how to insert a pair when the white on the corner is facing the front. So you'll notice the edge is now on the right like this and it creates the pair. So holding the slot still in the front right, we're not going to rotate the cube. You're going to do a U to move the pair over. You're going to do an R to bring the cross piece up, and then connect the pair with the cross piece and just insert it like that to return the cross back to normal and insert the pair. And that's how you solve the mirrored matching case. Not too bad. And finally, our last case that we need to learn is the mirrored non-matching case. This one's pretty easy as well. In this case, we're looking at the blue and red pair, which when you scramble the cube up will be in the back. So let's just rotate the cube over. So we have the blue and red slot in the front right with the corner piece right above it. The white on the corner piece facing the front instead of the right. The top color of the edge and the top color of the corner are not matching. That's why it's called non-matching. To solve this case, let's hold the cube so that the slot and the corner are on the front left like this. Now we're going to push the corner towards the edge with an L prime to create the pair in the back, and with a U prime we can attach it to the cross piece and insert it just like that with an L. And that's it for all 5 cases that we need to learn. Not too bad. It's going to take a little bit of practice to get the hang of it. If you ever forget, feel free to come back to this part of the video and rewatch how I solved these cases. Alright, now that we're done with part 1 and part 2, that's really the bulk of F2L. Part 3 is going to be pretty quick. I want to show you a trick you can use for when you're solving the last F2L pair to make sure that you're not accidentally unsolving your other F2L pairs. Up until now, I've been showing you the hiding trick without mentioning any sort of side effects or consequences to using it, but you may have noticed as you use the hiding trick, you might accidentally be unsolving some of your F2L pairs. So let's say we have this case where we've got an edge and corner next to each other, and it's our final pair. We want to split the corner and edge up. So this would be part 1 of this video, where we want the edge to be in the left or the back position. Normally, you would just do an R prime to hide the corner. Let's say we move the edge to the back position, and then we bring the corner back up, and it would create the non-matching case. But we've accidentally unsolved the blue and orange pair. Let's undo this. We're back to where we were. To make sure we don't accidentally unsolve any other pairs, let's rotate the cube so that the unsolved slot is now in the back right, because that's the slot that comes up when we hide the corner. Now we can do a U to bring the corner back into the front right position, even though it's not above its slot anymore. And now apply your regular hiding trick with your R prime to hide the corner, move the edge over, bring the corner back, and now we've successfully split up the corner and the edge and preserved all of our other F2L pairs. Then we can do a cube rotation back to where we were and bring the corner back to the front right position where it belongs. So it's really not that much work, and it preserves all of your F2L pairs. And if you're wondering when you're supposed to do this trick, I want you to remember this one golden rule. If you ever want to apply the hiding trick, make sure the slot that you're bringing up into the top layer is unsolved. If you're hiding with an R prime, the back slot is what comes up. If you're hiding with an R, the front slot is what comes up. So that golden rule should generally cover every case. If you're still stuck and confused, don't worry, we're about to do some examples right now in part 4. and you'll get a much better understanding of it. Alright, now I'll walk you through a complete in-depth example of how you would apply everything that I've taught you in this video so far to solve beginner's F2L on your own, and then I'll give you some next steps on what you should learn after watching this video. If you want to follow along with me, hold green in front, yellow on top, and perform this scramble. Alright, so let's take a look at this scramble. We'll see that on the top layer we have this orange and green F2L pair. Everything else is in the bottom, like all of the corners at least. So let's go ahead and solve this one. It'll save us a few steps. So I'm going to position the orange and green slot right in front of me in the front right. I'll bring the corner above it. And looks like we need to convert this into one of the 5. The corner and edge are already in the top layer. We just have to split them up. So to do that, I'm going to apply the second variation of the hiding trick that I've shown you. Remember, that's the one when the edge is in the right position here. So what I'm going to do is move the corner to the back and then hide it with an R. And now I can move this edge wherever I want. I'll move it to the left. And when I bring the cross edge down and bring the corner back up, they're split up. And looks like we have the white on top case now. And so remember, for the white on top case, we look at the edge piece first. And we see that it has a green side color, so we're going to match it up with the green center piece. So we got the green on green like this. And we're not going to worry about the corner for now. Still have the green and orange slot right here in the front right. And if we look at the top color, it's orange. And we want it to move that away from the orange side. So the orange center is right here. So let's rotate the green face so that the edge is away from the orange side. Now the edge is here on the opposite side of the orange. And we got the cross piece up, but we'll fix that in a minute. We'll bring the corner above the edge to create the pair. And now we can, when we return the cross, we bring the pair into the top layer. And let's insert it into the slot. So to do that, we're going to rotate the cube. Slot's now in the front left. We want to put the corner in here. The pair in here, but we don't want to mess up the cross, right? So we want to move the corner out of the way. Bring the cross piece up, connect the corner and the pair like that, bring the cross down, and it inserts the pair perfectly. Alright, now we look into the top layer. We don't have any corners in the top layer, but we do have a couple of edges that we can use. It doesn't really matter which one you'd pick in this case. I'll just pick blue and red. So since that's already in the top layer, we don't have to do step 2 of the conversion process. We have to do step 1, however, to bring the corner into the top layer. So here's the corner. Got to bring this into the top layer. So I'm going to apply R prime to take that out. And we have them both in the top layer. And as you can see, this creates the matching case. So first, let's rotate the cube so we have the blue and red slot in the front right, like we always do. Move the corner above the slot. So this is actually the mirrored matching case, since the white is facing the front instead of the right on the corner piece. We want the edge to come behind the corner right here that will create the pair. So what I'm going to do is move the corner to the back right in order to apply the hiding trick. I'll do an R. Again, this is the second variation of the hiding trick that I've shown you. And then we're going to move the edge to the back position so that when I do an R prime like this, it creates the pair in the back. The cross is preserved and everything else looks good. Let's move this here. We want to insert this in to the slot now. So let's move the corner out of the way, bring the edge up, connect it, and bring it down. And that solves that slot. We have this other one that we already solved. So we just have 2 more pairs to go. And I'm going to look around the cube. I see we've got this orange and blue pair that we can solve. This one has the corner in the bottom layer, so that's like an extra step. So let's just do this one. It's a little easier. We can skip the first 2 steps of the conversion process. So now we just have to split these up, right? So I'm going to apply the hiding trick again, because that's always what we do when we split them up. And remember, anytime there's an edge here that you're dealing with, you want to apply the second variation of the hiding trick. So what I'm going to do is move the corner to the back, hide it, move the edge over, bring it back, and now they're split up. I'm going to bring this corner back where it was. And this is the regular matching case. So here, although this is not the last pair, remember the golden rule whenever you're using the hiding trick. you want to make sure that the slot you're bringing up is always empty. In this case, I would normally apply the hiding trick like this, do an R prime to hide the corner here, bring this orange and blue edge to the front, unhide the corner and create the pair, right? But notice it unsolves the blue and red pair, which is not what we want. So let's undo that real quick, back to where we were now. So how do we make sure that we don't accidentally unsolve that case? So this is very important. What you want to do is rotate the cube so that the back slot is empty, and then we want to bring the corner with us, because remember, whenever we hide it, we're using the first variation of the hiding trick now. When we hide it, it's going to bring the back slot up. So that's the one you want to make sure is empty. And now we can safely apply the hiding trick, bring the corner back, and we have the pair, and we have not broken the blue and red pair in the back. It's perfectly fine. Now let's go back to where we were. Just rotate the cube so that the slot's in the front, right? Let's bring this pair back where it was, and we want to insert it here now. So remember, for this variation of the pair, when it looks like this, you want to rotate the cube here so that the slot is in the front left, move the pair out of the way, bring this cross piece up, connect it to the cross piece, and insert the pair like that. And there we go, it's solved that F2L pair. So now we have 3 out of 4 solved, just have to get this last one in. And this one, what I will do is, so we're going to take the corner out, the edge is already out, so if it was like this, if I did an R prime to take the corner out, notice how they're connected. They're both in the top layer, but they're connected. So what I can do instead is, let's just put this back where it was. I'll do a U at the beginning. And now when I take them out, when I take the corner out, they're split up. So you see how that kind of skips step 3. So I'm already kind of thinking ahead here. You can start to apply tricks like that as you get more and more familiar with F2L. But that's just a little example I wanted to show you. And now we have the mirrored matching case, right? Because the white on the corner is facing us, and the top 2 colors are the same here. They're both red. So we got the mirrored matching case, and we want to put it into this slot. So I'll move the corner to the back. We're going to apply the second variation of the hiding trick now. I'm going to do an R to hide the corner, bring the edge to the back here, so that when I do an R prime to unhide the corner, it creates the pair like that in the back. And we're going to insert it to the front. So let's just bring the corner and the pair back where it was. And this one is pretty easy to insert. Move the corner out of the way, bring the cross piece up, connect the corner to the cross piece, and in it goes. So there you go, that was a quick beginner's F2L example showing you everything that we've learned in this video. This video is already getting pretty long, so I don't want to drag it out more by adding more examples like this. So instead, I've created a separate video that's full of beginner's F2L examples. You can check it out on my channel. It's already uploaded. It's essentially an extension of this tutorial video, so I highly recommend you guys check it out. There's a lot of good stuff in there that would help you learn F2L better. Alright guys, so that concludes all the material I had for you in this beginner's F2L tutorial video. Technically, this is all you need to be able to solve F2L on your own now every single time. It just comes down to a matter of how well do you understand it and how quickly you're able to actually get started on solving it on your own. It's going to take a lot of practice. You'll probably have to rewatch some parts of the video. Once you feel like you've gotten the hang of it, you're starting to understand more and more how F2L works. You're able to do it on your own every time pretty easily. Then I would recommend you move on to intermediate F2L, learn a few more tricks, maybe start learning some algorithms for cases that you're pretty inefficient at solving, and just continue on from that, moving on to advanced F2L techniques, learning more and more tricks. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, you can watch this beginner's F2L example video. I actually have an entire CFOP playlist on my channel where I go over various different levels of intermediate, advanced, beginners, F2L, and I should have an intermediate F2L video coming out in a few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you guys left a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more cubing tutorials, reviews, unboxings, and hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.